By the time news broke, whispers had grown into roars. Something terrible had gone wrong. Something intentional. Something cruel. The room went dark, lights flickered in homes as people stared at their screens. Is he going to make it? Became the only question left. That single line, echoing in the silence, is where our story begins. This is the tale of a young man trapped in a war he didn't see coming, a family torn in half by fear and grief, and an unfolding mystery that refuses to quiet itself. King Harris was not born into silence or secret. He came into a legacy, a throne of expectation, love, and pressure. Son of rap royalty T.I., and Tiny, his life was woven with the height of fame, the weight of reputation, and the ever-present scrutiny that follows those born in the public eye. From his earliest days, he was watched, measured, critiqued. Every misstep would echo. Every success would magnify. But King was more than a legacy. He was a son who laughed too loud, who fought for recognition, who stumbled through adolescence in the glare of spotlight and rumor. Growing up, he wrestled with the shadow of parental fame, with whispers from industry insiders who questioned whether he had the talent or whether he was just another name. Deep down, he carried a resolve to live on his own terms, not merely ride on his parents' headlines. As he moved into adulthood, cracks began to show. He had ambitions: music, business, influence. He had friends, some true, some not. There were rumors, trouble in school, scuffles, clashes behind closed doors. The media and the internet were quick to pounce. Every tweet, every Instagram story, every late-night post was dissected. King wasn't just trying to grow. He was trying to survive a life that already felt designed to break him. At the same time, the Harris family wrestled with their own demons. Tiny, a powerhouse presence publicly, privately held worries that few ever saw. T.I., the patriarch, bore burdens of expectation, legacy, loyalty, and guilt. Through the years, speculation swirled, threads of tension between King and his parents, moments of conflict, harsh words, distance. But to the public, the image was one of strength, unity, a dynasty built to endure. Then one night, everything changed. What nobody expected was that the most dangerous threat wouldn't come from outside enemies or rival crews. It would come in whispers, in corridors, in dark rooms. It would come in betrayal, doubt, fear, and a final twist that would spiral this family into their worst hour yet. It started with a call, urgent, distorted, trembling. Someone had to get to the hospital. King was collapsing. Within minutes, shared by worried insiders, the news spread: he was intubated, in critical condition, rushed into ICU. The cause? Conflicting stories. A fight in jail. An attack in transport. A fall. Poisoning. No one knew. Rumors filled the gaps. At first, the story the press ran was simple: King was assaulted while in custody. A prison scuffle, a fight gone wrong, perhaps even self-defense turned deadly. T.I. pleaded for details, demanded transparency, accused authorities of negligence, but most of all, he begged the world to believe, "My son is not expendable." Then came the leaks. A partial medical report, redacted and incomplete but enough to fuel theories. Internal sources claimed King's injuries were too precise for a random fight: deep contusions, lacerations in patterns that suggested surgical intention rather than blunt chaos. A wound behind the ear, bruising along his ribs in symmetrical lines. Someone had aimed for more than damage, they had aimed for control. But here's the twist: shortly after that leak, a voice memo surfaced. Muffled, hushed, with static flickering, but clear enough: he won't leave that bed. 5 words. No attribution, no context. But to some, it sounded like an order. And when it landed, the internet exploded. What nobody expected was that behind the scenes, forces far more powerful than street crews had taken interest. Some believed King had been getting close to bringing secrets out about jail politics, about prison corruption, about people using his name to broker deals. Others whispered of financial disputes or internal betrayals, promises broken, loyalty tested. Was he a threat? Or was he collateral damage? Then tension snapped the next night. Reports said King flatlined twice. On one shift, his oxygen level dropped off for nearly 10 seconds. Monitors went silent. Nurses reportedly scrambled. The footage, people say, was mysteriously erased. On another shift, amidst frantic CPR and paddles, his heart faltered, then came back. But the integrity of the recording system? Gone. The backups? Vanished. Fans, journalists, social media sleuths, everyone became a detective. Leaked documents claimed tampering in hospital access logs. Security footage allegedly wiped. A suspicious staff replacement overnight. Conversations overheard in hospital hallways, anonymous voices claiming they knew orders had come down. It turned darker. Some insiders claimed there had been external pressure, messages intercepted, references to the plan, silence maintained, truth buried. Others said King had been warned. He was told to drop a track, drop the story, drop allegations, or suffer consequences. Did he cross someone powerful? Did he get too close to a secret that wasn't his to expose? What nobody guessed was that the person whose betrayal cut deepest wasn't a stranger. It might have come from within. A confidant. A friend. A relative. Someone who knew his movements, his vulnerabilities, who had access or influence behind hospital doors. Someone who knew how to make him vulnerable. Someone who knew how to break him. As the hours turned into days, hope flickered. T.I. and Tiny made public pleas. Let him live. Let the truth come out. Videos of them pacing hospital halls, crying, collapsing, these became viral heartstrings. At one point, T.I. stormed a hospital wall, breaking equipment in raw grief and rage. Cameras captured him screaming, "They can't just erase him." Meanwhile, social pressure swelled. Online activists demanded body cams, CCTV footage, transparency. Protesters gathered outside the hospital, lines drawn between police and fans. Legions carried signs, "Justice for King, don't erase a life." Hashtags lit up, "Let King live, who attacked King, expose the truth." People refused to let this story fade. Then came the leak that shattered the illusion. An internal hospital document marked confidential, dropped to the internet. It referenced a patient H with suspicious injuries, unusual sedation protocols, unlocked access logs, and external interventions. It asked if outside pressure had forced deviations from standard care. The headline read like a death warrant. In that moment, the narrative shifted. No longer was King just a victim of a prison fight. He was in the center of a cover-up. A story not just about violence but about power, control, fear, and who dares to challenge it. The weight of this nightmare crashed upon King's family like tidal waves. Tiny hit the floor in the hallway, tears soaking scrubs, as security guards held her up. She screamed, "They took him. They will kill him." Her body convulsed in grief. T.I.'s face, weathered and raw, showed that a man built to lead had lost his footing. He paced, cried, pleaded. His voice, usually steady, quivered. King's siblings, scattered in silence, tried to make sense. Texts unanswered, calls unreturned. They hovered outside the ICU door, listening to beeps, fearing silence. Friends of the family made private calls to power players, seeking assistance, legal leverage, but every lead hit walls. Every phone call was shadowed. Publicly, King's career hung in limbo. Deals paused. Producers backed away. Rumors circulated that labels were threatened. People worried that if he died or disappeared, his voice, his story, would be lost forever. His music catalog, his future, his dreams, all vulnerable. Emotionally, the damage cut deep. King, assuming he could hear, might lie in darkness, ghosted by betrayal, wondering who had plotted against him. He might be caught between fighting for breath and battling memories of trust twisted. The bed that should protect him becomes his battlefield. Families fracture under less weight. But this was more than grief. There was rage, betrayal, suspicion. The sense that someone, maybe more than one, had tried to extinguish the spark of his life. For the public, there's confusion, heartbreak, a demand for truth. But for those in that hospital, pushing machines and prayers together. This wasn't news. This was war. It's late now, but the fight isn't over. Somewhere in the cold ICU hum, King's body fights back. Somewhere in hidden offices, lawyers read redacted reports, forensic teams chase playback logs, pressure builds to break open the silence. The world watches. The whispers grow louder. What will survive this? Will King emerge with scars physical and emotional but still standing? Will this family be pushed into collapse, or held together by grief and fury? Will the truth come out, or be covered up in memories, manipulated files, and hushed threats? If King does live, he will never be the same. The boy with dreams becomes a man marked by survival. And this story will not fade quietly into hearsay. It will echo. Because in the end, what matters isn't just that he fought for his life, but that we all keep fighting for his truth. Because some stories demand to be heard, some voices refuse silence, and some lives are worth every ounce of light we can pour into the darkness. So stay with me. The next chapter hasn't been written yet. But this moment will be remembered. As the hours stretch into another sleepless night, the atmosphere inside that hospital grows heavier. The machines hum softly, their steady rhythm the only proof that King is still here, still fighting. Outside, Atlanta refuses to rest. Candles line the sidewalks, flickering like tiny hearts beating for him. Strangers hold hands, praying for a boy they've never met but somehow feel connected to. T.I. stands near the window, his face hidden behind trembling hands. For the first time, he looks less like a celebrity and more like a father, terrified, broken, and desperate. Tiny sits quietly beside him, whispering words only a mother can speak. Words meant to call her child back from the edge. The love in that room is raw, painful, unfiltered. And while rumors continue to swirl, one truth cuts through everything: King's spirit hasn't given up. Even when his body weakens, something deep inside him keeps pushing. He's not ready to leave. Not yet.